All right, hello, welcome to a new episode. Today we've got the lovely Alana from W1N. Hello, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. Darren, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for coming on today. Obviously, after a few episodes on with Cal on about FIFO, we sort of connected, and I've had a number of questions around what is FIFO, what is mining, and how do I get in there? And I just thought, "Do you know what? Let's do something together where we can answer all those questions in one episode." So, thank you for coming on.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it. And I've binge watched so many or listened to so many of your podcasts, so I'm looking forward to it.
Well, thank you very much. And obviously, your knowledge and expertise in this field is pretty much this is what you've been doing for a long time. It's so let's start off with your company based in Perth, and you're looking for help those ones in Western Australia. Is that correct?
Yes and no. The company is officially based in Perth, but it's actually a global company. I've got staff in four different countries, in three different states of Australia. And even though like COVID for me was a blessing, I used to have an office and all my staff were based in WA. And then we were basically stuck there. And then COVID came along and we had the opportunity to go remote. So that has absolutely exploded the business and the capacities of being able to have amazing staff working in Queensland right now, different time frames, etc. And we
Wow.
work with candidates worldwide. So it's amazing. On an average day, we're doing career consultation sessions with candidates from all throughout the world. And our primary focus is to help people who are wanting to get jobs within the mining industry. And WA is the number one place to be worldwide. So we do basically facilitate people to get jobs all throughout Australia because there's mines in every single state in Australia, including Tasmania. But the two
Wow.
best places, without a doubt, yeah, no, a lot of people don't know that.
Didn't know that,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, two best places are Western Australia and Queensland, or remote areas like Newman or Singleton, Muswellbrook in New South Wales. So we work with candidates worldwide, and basically we try to say or direct them as to the best places they can go, which is WA without a doubt.
Yeah, and that's really good to know because first of all, I knew briefly that you worked with other candidates, but I didn't know you had like that much of a reach. That's amazing. So, obviously, you're trying to get candidates from everywhere to go to the mines and help them out. Um, Obviously, what was the passion behind Win-Win? Because I love the name, by the way, and obviously,
Thanks.
what services do you provide?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So I guess I'll kind of go back to the start. Like I started in the mines when 2 weeks after I turned 18. When I finished high school in the year 2000, it was the old thing of like, what are you going to do with your life? And I wanted to be a flight attendant and I wanted to travel. And then I was like, hang on, I don't want to be serving drinks on the plane. I want to be like, traveling somewhere cool. So I initially thought, all right, to do that, I need to get money. My dad had worked in the mines and he knew of this company called Mine Site Catering, and they did the cleaning and kitchen hand stuff and whatever. And he said, oh, why don't you go get a job there? So I rang up the lady, and my twin sister and I ended up doing an interview. We were still 17 at the time. You can't get a FIFO job until you're 18. So we had to wait till January. We did an interview, and then basically we both got the job. She flew out on her birthday, January 28th. I flew out 2 weeks later. And I was absolutely obsessed. As an 18-year-old, working in the mining industry, earning a ton of cash and being able to go out there and not spend 1 cent the whole time. You're not only making a ton of cash, but you're saving it at the same time. It allowed me to go traveling. And then I ended up going in and out of the mining industry for 17 years. And pretty much the whole time I was out there, I was obsessed with helping other people to get out there. So I worked in recruitment on the mines. I also owned a company where I did all the recruitment, used different like technology, all the onboarding, hiring and firing, looking through resumes. I helped people to write resumes. And that was where I was just like, look, this is like my passion of helping people to go from, oh, I'm about to lose my house, like crying in my office, going, I can't get a job in the mining industry. I've got no idea why, to go, all right, cool, let me write your resume. Bang, they're out there the next week. So that for me, it was like a passion where I was like, everybody needs to get into the mining industry. You can go out there, earn a ton of cash really fast. And that allowed me to then go traveling, start a business, buy property, have a stress-free life where I can, start this business and like positively affect people and, the industry at the same time. Like I always noticed we'd get really crappy candidates in some of the jobs that I was doing who didn't know how to turn on the headlights on the bus, or they didn't know how to do things. And I was like, are these people getting through the recruitment process? So companies were always struggling to find good staff. And then you've got staff on the other hand who cannot even get like an entry-level toilet cleaning job. So for me, I was like, that's it. I got so busy. I was driving trucks on night shift. And my cousin said to me after I'd helped literally thousands of people to get into the industry just by writing a resume for them or showing them how to set up their Seek profile or directing them to what employers were hiring at that time. So I guess at that time I'd worked in recruitment and my cousin was like, you need to start up a recruitment company. You need to help people to do this, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll give it a crack. So I ended up quitting my cushy like truck driving job where I was earning a ton of money to drive around wetting roads and have no stress, to then with no business plan going, I'm just going to start a business. Like, why not? So for me, I started this business with the intention of creating a win-win situation in every single like situation that arose. So I wanted to get the best candidates for our recruitment contracts and also help the candidates. Like that's my real passion, right? Having somebody come to us and go, I just cannot get in, like I'm going to lose my house, or like, the cost of living is going through the roof and I can't get a toilet cleaning job in the mines, which I know will change my life, to going, let's do this. And then a week later, they're out there earning all this money in the mines. And they're like, thank you so much. You've just changed my life. The times when this business gets hard and I go, what the hell am I doing? I want to go back and drive trucks and have no stress. Almost like magic. I'll get somebody ring me up and say, thank you so much. You've changed my life. And it's like, to me, that is why I keep doing this. And I love it. So basically within the business, we've got two different divisions. We've got the recruitment side where we have the most unique way of finding candidates for employers at cost lower than anybody else can do it right now. And the way that we're facilitating that is through the second arm of the business, which is my favorite. And that's our career consultation side, where we've got the candidates, they come to us and say, I've sent my resume out 500 times. I'm getting nowhere fast. I don't know what I'm doing. Or they're about to go and spend thousands of dollars on mining tickets that they don't need because they saw on the internet that some idiot said, oh, you need every ticket under the sun, even though you've got no experience, then you'll walk straight into a mining job. That is not true. If you're listening to this right now, please contact our team. Do not spend thousands of dollars on mining tickets, whatever you do, unless you're going to go into like certain areas of the industry. So sorry for rambling.
No, that's
I've
fine.
obviously
Go
had too many coffees, but
ahead.
that to me is how the business started, and that's what we do. We've got the recruitment arm where we do permanent placement. So companies come to us, say, "Can you please get us this?" And for significantly lower than labour hire companies or any other company on the market, due to the fact that I've got so much reach in the industry, and I can get candidates. So we've got a database of several 100,000 people. We've got the Facebook group, which has got 62,000 people in there. The social media reach that I can get, I can literally snap my fingers and get whatever they want. You want a D10, dozer operator with 5 years experience in X, Y, and Z? No worries. We can pull them out and send them your way to companies. But like I said, the passion for me lies in helping and working with the candidates. And that's even if we can do a resume for a candidate who was knocked back for the last 6 months for every job they applied for, and then turn it around, we do a resume, and then they go off. And this has really happened. A guy came to us, he was on $36 an hour. And I was like, what are you doing? Because I knew the market was paying 70 plus, did a
Wow.
resume for him. 3 days later, he sent me an email saying, oh my God, I just got shortlisted for every single job that I applied for, including with every one of the big mining companies. And I've just accepted an offer for $73 an hour. That is life-changing. He doubled his
100%.
salary in less than a week.
Yeah.
So
And I love to hear that because your experience was from the mines itself. So you have so much to give there. Like you know the industry in and out, in and inside and out, to be honest. And I love the way
yeah,
that you also had the same mindset that I had when I came to Australia to begin with was um like, having that delayed gratification of like you sacrifice a few years to do something hard. Like it is hard because you're still away from family, you're away in the mines there, it's not easy all the time. But I was doing the exact same thing with my job where I was living at the school. I was earning double what I would have normally made as a teacher and working extra hours in the boarding house, but I was making double what I was and was able to invest in property and do all that. So I feel like we have both had the same mindset and work ethic. And I
yeah.
feel like you're trying to instill that in others, because it can literally change your life. And I understand Australia in so many industries can change your life. So it's so good to hear that. Um,
Yeah,
why do you
agreed.
obviously I kind of answered the next question I had kind of had for you, which was why work in the mining industry and why choose it as a career, but also there is lifelong things there. Could you explain a little bit more about why people should go into mining?
God, yeah. Okay, firstly, let's just get to the main point, money. Money is not just bits of paper or whatever. Money is the ability, just like what you've done, Darren, of to follow your dreams. I believe every single person has something amazing within them. But if you're financially stressed out, the cost of living is going through the roof, you're wondering how you're going to pay your mortgage or your rent, you do not have that freedom to be able to focus on your true genius inside, which could end up being something like exactly what you've created, exactly what I've had the ability to create. And that's go on to live what the purpose of our lives, of what we were put on this earth to do, and to change millions of other people's lives in the process. For me, I don't look at, I figure the more money that you have, the less stress you've got to worry about. That's just one thing, right? Money buys opportunities. And to go out to the mines, right, to work out there for 2 weeks at a time, or I used to do 4 weeks on in when I worked on Barrow Island. 4 weeks, I could go out there, be earning so much money, even driving buses or trucks around. The highest paying job I ever had paid me $80 an hour. I was earning over a grand a shift to do that. And I went up there, I was actually out there for 5 weeks straight. And I spent basically hardly anything. And I came
Mm,
home and you're just like, wow. So it allowed me, just like you, to buy property, to travel, to live the life that I dream, and to eventually start this business where just for me, that's always been my passion of going, nah, look, sorry, money makes the world go round. And the only people that say money is the root of all evil don't have any. So like they need to, like, that's where I just go, I don't care. You can go out, or you tell me where in the world you can get an entry level job where all you need is an HR driver's license, a first aid certificate, a police certificate, and a white card, and you can potentially go out there and earn $150,000 without having any prior experience. There is probably nowhere in the world where you can do that except for here. And the opportunities in this country are just phenomenal. I am so like appreciative every single day that I'm here, that for the opportunities. It is called the lucky country. And for people who, like Cal, who you had on your podcast, come over here and they make the most of it and they hit the ground running and they do what they need to do and take massive action to achieve these goals. Look at Cal now. Sorry, I'm sure your
no, no,
podcast,
go ahead.
I'm sure
Yeah.
everyone knows who he is.
Hopefully they've listened. Yeah.
Um, yeah, hopefully. He was one of my all-time favorite clients. He rang me 4 hours after he'd landed in the country, after packing his bags from Ireland, going, I'm going to the mines. He'd watched all my YouTube videos and he ended up contacting me from that. And I was like, oh my God, I love people like that. I will move heaven and earth to help this guy to achieve his goals, because give me someone who's passionate and motivated to want to change their life. And because that's me as well. So I resonate with those people and I go, mate, we are gonna do what we need to do to help you to achieve your goals. And that to me is like, as you can tell, this is a subject I'm extremely passionate about, because it's changing the world. It's that butterfly effect where one thing happens and it affects that and that in a positive way, hopefully. And
Yeah.
so yeah, that's why I just am obsessed with what I do. And that's why I believe as well the business has been so successful, because we're not just like some shitty recruitment company who doesn't give a shit about their sorry, I hope I'm allowed to swear on this.
Yeah, never go.
Yeah. Who doesn't give a like, whatever about the actual person who's doing the job for the company. They're just a number, and they're like, oh well, sorry, they're trying to, squeeze them down to the lowest salary that they can pay them so the company can make billions of dollars in profit. For me, that's where our career consultation side, we work with the candidates. Like, to me, I don't really, yeah, we knock back recruitment contracts all the time because I'm like, what are you paying them? No, sorry, no, I'm not doing that. So for me, that's where my passion lies, with helping the individual person to achieve their goals.
Yeah, and that's so good to hear that you actually care holistically about the candidates, because not only do you help people, for example, coming from overseas, you do help people in Australia who live here, who are literally living in wherever and realize that this is an opportunity for them. So if you are listening and you have a full-fledged passport or you're Australian, you can come and take advantage of this opportunity. But I love that you just said that people who are motivated, like I know so many people who say, I've done 100 CVs on Seek, but I'm like, but did you call them? Did you do that? Did you call up and find out why it's not working? Like a lot of people don't do the
God,
extra
yeah.
mile. And I feel like
Hmm.
what you just said there really resonated with me. Um,
Yeah. And can I just add to that one? What we found, right, is because one of the easiest services that we have got that makes a difference really quickly is doing a resume, because all resumes now, especially in the mining and recruitment industries, they use applicant tracking systems, which basically filter resumes. And from me working in recruitment and owning multiple applicant tracking systems, there is a way that resume needs to be to get results. And then you are 100% spot on. What you do with that resume afterwards is more important with that resume being ATS compliant, right? In fact, no, they kind of go hand in hand, but we've got a package that pretty much 9 out of 10 people go for. It is our most, as some people might say, that's expensive, but it's not really if you consider the fact that if you've tried for 6 months to try to get a job with a shitty resume that's not working for you, you have just then potentially lost out on 50 grand for half of that year or whatever, where you could have been in the industry earning it. Just like Cal, 28 days later, bang, off he goes into a
yeah,
$100,000 plus salary. And that's where this package, from knowing the different elements where candidates can fall down in the recruitment process, we started just adding more stuff into it, going, oh, okay, now they're failing the medical, let's add this into it. Now they're failing the inductions or the interviews, let's add this into it. So our ultimate package that we created through the career consultation session, basically, I say to people, look, if you buy this, you may as well go and pack your bags, because we work with, well, not only do we go above and beyond to make people do the things that they can do, that they need to do to get where they want, like make that follow-up phone call like what you just said, but we show them how to do it the easy way, because it's all about getting your foot in the door. And especially with the sheer competition that's on the market right now, time is of the essence. Like last year, I think it was 675,000 people came into the country. And I can tell you, half of them probably called me to help them to get out to the mines. So yeah, 100%. Like I've always facilitated and encouraged anyone who, like Australian citizens who are in this country right now, like don't be blaming immigration or like, whatever, like why you can't get a job. You just need to do what you need to do. And that's where I work with, I don't care where they're from. I will work with anybody to help them to achieve their goals if they're motivated and they want to take massive action.
yeah, and
Sorry
you're
for
right. Like,
rambling.
no, but you're on the right path there, because I literally said, like, I mean, if I couldn't get a job, I would move heaven and earth to get something. Like, I would go and do something that maybe potentially wasn't 100% me, but I'd do it for a while to get where I need to be in a forward
Yeah.
position. And you could literally do this job for some of those jobs out there that you're mentioning for a couple of years and totally change your life. But
Yeah.
before you even get to this whole FIFO thing, what sort of things should you consider before actually getting into FIFO? Because it's not all roses out there, is it?
Yep, it is hard, right? And everyone thinks, oh, go out there, you see all this bullshit on social media. Oh, FIFO earning like $300,000. Yeah, no, you need to consider a lot of things like whether you can mentally take it. That is one thing I find candidates go out there. They are not used to the fact that it's 40 degrees, you're surrounded by flies. If you're in one of the really hands-on jobs, you're on your feet in those boots for 12 hours a day. You're going to get blisters, you're going to get chafing, you're away from your support system, like marriage breakups. There are a lot of downsides to the industry. You always see things about the bullying and harassment and stuff like that. I'll be honest, as a female who did FIFO for 17 years, I never came across any of that, or if I did, I would sort it immediately. But there are, what, the mining industry and working away for 2 weeks or 4 weeks at a time is not for everybody. I've seen people get off the plane, then 24 hours later, they are on a plane going back home again to Perth because they cannot handle it. So you need to really do your research and have a look into what job you want, what job that you can get, and whether this is right for you and your family. Because you know what, most people go out there with the intention of, I need to make money for my family. I'm doing the right things, so they think, and then next minute they're having a marriage breakdown. So, weighing up the pros and cons, and also I always suggest to people, have an exit plan. You've seen it on the mines. You see these guys who are out there, they're like in their 70s, they're still working. They've got 3 Thai brides, like 3 divorces, 5 jet skis, and they're still stuck there. They don't own their own house because they're just like giving them out in divorce settlements or whatever. So it is not for everyone. And whilst there is a big push for more females to join the industry, some of them are just bigger, and males too. I mean, I'm not going to discriminate. Like some people, it's just not right for them. They don't have it in them. It's a really hard environment. Like I say, it's not for the faint-hearted. And people, on social media, it looks to be like a walk in the park. Oh, everything's rosy. The money's through the roof. But I mean, I can tell you right now, the utility jobs that I first started in the year 2001, they're still getting paid the same amount of money 23 years later. So everyone thinks, oh, you just go out there and get $1,000 an hour, blah, blah, blah. It's not true. So the money is there, but you need to position yourself, have a plan, have an exit plan as well, and just execute it. Don't go off on little tangents and stuff like that. Have your eye on the prize, set yourself goals, and get out if it's not right for you. If your mental health is declining, I've seen people I've heard of anyway, people try to commit suicide in the toilet going home to Perth. There's a lot of stuff can happen, and out in the mines, it's like you're in a goldfish tank. That you're doing the same thing every day. You're surrounded by these people, and stuff can just get blown out to be way bigger than what originally at home you would have just gone, whatever. Somebody said this to me, I don't care, whatever. But out there, you stew on it, and you're around all these different people, different personalities. It is not for everybody. So you need to do your research, deciding whether it's right for you.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for sharing that, because I feel like we all see the lovely glamorous side from the social media and because I know a few pages that are up to 500,000 followers, and they're sharing just all the amazing things, just money, money, money. And it's not all money. They're actually, you have to have the mindset, the mental resilience, and the grit and determination to keep it going, because it's a long hour slog, and it's it's manual labor. Most of it is. So it's tiring. I feel like
Definitely,
I'm
it
too
is
old now for
tiring.
the wins. But I think that's the way I am at the moment. I'm in my home phase. But
Uh,
yeah, so
yeah,
the big thing that people are asking me especially is, can I get a job on a working holiday visa? And if so, is it easy to do that? But it is good to point out that not only do you work with a range of different visa holders plus citizens. So this
yeah,
is a question more for the working holiday visa people. So is it easy,
yeah.
and do you help?
Is it easy? Well, I will say since last year, and there was mass immigration, a lot of people coming in on working holiday visas. Some companies now are just cracking down because of the restrictions on those visas. Companies are going, why would I hire somebody to come in when they've got all these restrictions as to somebody who lives here, who doesn't have those restrictions? So it has gotten harder in the industry, I'll be honest. Every day of the week we work with people who are on working holiday visas. So yeah, it's 100% doable. It just comes down to having a plan And now, like what we were talking about of basically, I call it chopping the tree. You need to do the work, like, networking and going above and beyond. We have noticed that some of the candidates that we're working with are having, it might take a wee bit longer than what it used to, or if they're going up against an Australian candidate who is, let's say, living in Perth, they meet the criteria, they've got the tickets, they're good to go. So it comes down to as well having that support system of like what we do. We don't just go, yeah, thanks, we've done this, bye. We go, great, we are going to follow up with you 1 week from now, 2 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now. Our phone, you can call us anytime, you can contact your consultant, because we're not just, oh yeah, whatever, thanks very much, bye. Where we really want people to get that outcome that they want. And so yeah, well, that's where I guess we're kind of different to a lot of companies who you might see on the market. But yeah,
Yeah.
working holiday visas, we actually brought in a specialized immigration expert who deals with all this. So we get a lot of questions due to the TikTok channel and YouTube channels and all the social media that I do, always asking about visas. And I was like, look, this is not my speciality. Sponsorship, I was like, I don't want to have a bar of it. We deal with candidates after you're here. And so we brought in our own immigration agent now who we refer people to. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
no,
answers
that
that.
that because it is a one thing that I suppose people are cracking down on, especially because the rules are changing around those visas too. Like, for example, I know that they're saying if you work regionally, you cannot have those restrictions. But then some of
Mm.
they say, well, for example, if you're on a British passport, you can now work for 3 years, pretty much solid, if you're in a regional area. So, I suppose. You really do need to contact someone. So, who would be the best person if they
Yeah.
had a question around those things? Would be email you?
Yeah, they can definitely email us. So our main email, I'm sure you'll put it somewhere around this podcast or
Yeah,
whatever, but
in the
it's
show
just
notes.
info@winwin.com.au. We can refer you to our visa and sponsorship and like immigration guru, and who we vetted really hardcore to make sure that he was giving people the right advice. Things just changed within the laws around immigration on the 1st of July. So like to me, I'm like, look, mate, that's what you specialize in. I specialize in what we
Yeah,
specialize in. So yeah, we can definitely refer you onto him where he can give you the best advice, because it's changing all the time. Even I think it was last year it changed again. So the average age went up from 30 to 35, I believe.
yeah,
So it's a really moving situation. That's why we got him in, and he is just amazing. He has helped so many people since we've started this joint arrangement with him, and yeah, just cuts through the time and the money factor of people going, what do I do next?
yeah,
Like we get people, like I say, worldwide, and it's different from different countries as well. And so, yeah, that's why it's really integral to get that specialized advice from somebody who has their finger on the pulse of the law. So,
yeah.
yeah, definitely contact us and we can refer you on.
Brilliant. And I'll also preface or after this, just basically say this is not financial advice and it's not immigration advice. So make sure you do contact someone and get an actual proper agent who you have
Yes.
already can link up with. So, all right. So a big question, another one that's come up here, especially on TikTok and other platforms and Instagram, is the big push about getting jobs has been harder this year than ever before. And you did mention a little bit out there. Um, so what do you think the biggest problem out there is for those applicants? Do you think it's like a specific thing, or do you think it's multiple?
Yeah, this funny. I just did a TikTok on this like 2 days ago. There are multiple factors that have affected candidate success rates going like at the moment, and that comes down to everything from, like I said initially, I think it was 695,000 people that came into the country last year. Sure, not all of them went FIFO, but I can tell you a massive lot did. And then also the fact that there have been mines that have shut down recently. So I don't know whether you've seen, but this year it's FMG, a mine in Queensland, like MRL just shut down 4 of their sites, so 1,000 candidates. And I'm talking skilled candidates are now out there looking for like, that you're competing with. So if you're trying to get an entry level job, it's just made that factor even harder. companies these days are now actually flying skilled workers from the East Coast. Well, I'm talking skilled like HD fitters and like auto sparkies from the East Coast to Western Australia directly into their mines now. You might have seen again, MRL has just bought out their own airline that they're starting so that they can surpass all the big, like the issues that arise with the normal air carriers. So candidates as well have to be hustling. You cannot just sit back, chuck like one or two resumes out into Seek and expect that you're going to land it every time. Like what we mentioned in like earlier, it comes down to going above and beyond what all the other candidates are doing because the competition levels now are just through the roof. For example, a company that we work with put out a dump truck traineeship. Within 20 minutes, they pulled it because they had over 800 applications. Everyone comes to us and they're like, I want a dump truck traineeship. It's like, yeah, you and the whole of the world wants a dump truck traineeship. So in our consultations that we do, we try to find as many options for that individual candidate who might initially come saying, yeah, I want a dump truck traineeship, but then end up going, okay, what about this job? What about this job? Like this one would pay more. These are the pros and cons. This is what you need for it. So we try to basically find the easiest path for the individual to get in. Not everyone's going to get in the same way, but on the same token, people need to be hustling now. You cannot just sit back, throw out a couple of applications and expect they're going to land the job that they want. You need to be doing the follow-up phone calls, like tapping into the secret jobs market, knowing how to directly and professionally contact employers, sorry, and obviously making sure that you're ticking the boxes. So the first one is obviously having that resume that is applicant tracking system compliant. And I had a guy, we did a consultation yesterday, and he's like, oh, so you're telling me my resume isn't any good? And I said to him, well, you tell me, how many jobs have you applied for? And he said, oh, about 300. I was like, and how many jobs out of that did you get? None? Okay, well, you tell me, do you still think your resume is good? No? Okay, well, it's a simple thing. If you're applying, and I'm talking like, if your resume is good and it's targeted enough, it can get through the system. And then on the other side, you've got the filtration system, which is that recruiter. That recruiter is going to look at that resume for 3 to 6 seconds before they decide, do I want to see the rest or not? So there are so many things that you need to, the structure of the resume is like, a work of art at the moment. You need to have it in a specific way so that recruiter sees it. If they glance over it for 6 seconds, because it did get through the applicant tracking system, then they want to keep looking at it. It's as simple as that. When you're competing, you need to make sure all your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted. And that's where we have, like, even in our packages, we just kept, like I said, we just kept adding on because I was like, oh, why is this person failing the medical? Did they not know that this is what's in it? Okay, let's help them out with that. Why is this person like bombing interviews? So we do interview preparation sessions with candidates, and some of them I'm like, of course you're not going to get a job saying that,
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's
it's
just about
about going
practice
above.
too. Yeah. It's about practice too, because not only do you have to get through those applicant tracking system, you have to then go through all the other loopholes that most other jobs do anyway to sift out candidates, medical and all that sort of stuff.
God,
So
yeah.
yeah, can you give us some
Yeah.
examples of what some entry level mining jobs look like? Because you did mention a few,
Definitely.
but
Yeah. Oh, 100%. There are basically, the way I see it, there's 4 really good entry-level jobs that anybody can get. And when we're talking to candidates, we try to see which one would be best for them, based upon their goals, how much money they want to earn, licenses and qualifications that they might need. So the first one, I always say, if you are fit, you can pass a very intense pre-employment medical and you've got like an HR license, first aid, white card and police certificate. The driller's offsider role to me is the #1 job out there that most candidates can get if they can pass that medical. The medical is hard and it is a hard job, but that job opens up so many different avenues if later on down the track you decide it's not right for you. I'm talking civil because you're operating those civil like, water carts or tipper trucks. Also servicemen, that can be a great potential opportunity down the track. You could go, you know what I mean? So that's one entry-level job. I'm always telling people, I say, you want to get cashed up? Right. Can you hack being out there for 2 or 4 weeks at a time, doing a physically demanding job, but still in the same token, you're getting to drive trucks and you're getting that experience? Yeah, cool. Let's go down that track. The next one is most people's first job that they get in the mining industry is as a utility. So a utility is basically working within the hospitality companies where you might be doing cleaning, like room cleaning, mine site cleaning, even driving buses, believe it or not, falls under the banner of utilities. Also, kitchen hand stuff, like doing groundsman or gardening. Like I've had even utilities fall under who were like pool cleaners who fell under the utility banner. So that is just a banner that companies use so that they can say, oh, well, technically you're a utility, so you do what we need you to do. So they'll put you into different departments. That is an amazing job. It pays about $85,000 per year. You don't need many licenses or tickets to do it. You might be working in a bar in the morning and then cleaning rooms throughout the day or driving a bus or whatever it might be. That is an amazing option. That's how I got in the door when I was 18, and that's how most people actually get their foot in the door. The next one I'm just going to put together, it's like a labourer and a TA. So those ones there, obviously you do need specific licenses and qualifications, confined space, work at heights, gas test atmospheres. The money varies among, like, depending on the roster, but that's a really hands-on job where you can go out there and there's a lot of variety in that job. So it can be a fantastic opportunity for somebody who's a little bit more hands-on and wants to potentially be helping out the welders or the boilermakers or even the mechanics or anything like that. So those are the main ones. And then, of course, you've got your traineeships. Everybody knows about the dump truck traineeships. I'm not even going to go on about that one.
Yeah.
But there's also lab technician. I know I talk about that daily. Lab technician, process operator. There are so many different traineeships that candidates can potentially look into. Just keep in mind as well, if you are on a visa and you're watching this, most companies probably aren't going to look at somebody who's on a visa unless it's a long-term one for an entry-level job or a traineeship, because they obviously want somebody who's going to be able to be there for longevity, like, really learn that job inside out and then be able to do it afterwards. So there is that factor as well. So yeah, those are the main ones. The other ones are obviously apprenticeships, but there are a couple of easy jobs there. I wouldn't say easy, but those are the easiest ones for people who don't have any mining experience.
Yeah. Thank you. That were like I just have learned a little bit about utility stuff as well because of all this social media. So thanks for explaining that, 'cause that really made a lot of sense. What are the main FIFO jobs right now that are in demand? Because I know you've talked about dump truck, but is there any other ones that are sort of calling out to you
Yeah.
on the ground?
Yeah, definitely. I will always say drillers offsiders. The economic factors that are going on right now with the lithium price and the rare earths and stuff like that globally, the lack of rare earths is actually causing miners to go digging and looking for these minerals. So that is why exploration is going off, and that equates to drillers offsiders. So that's why I always say, you know what, while the economy is doing what it's doing right now, then that is one of the perfect ways to like jobs to get into. I'll also say gold is like, with the gold price going through the roof due to the full economic instability that's happening in the world right now. Gold miners, the product goes up, it's worth more, so they dig deeper. So gold mines, they are actually like mines that were mothballed, they're starting them up again. There's a lot of opportunities, and some of the entry-level jobs that you're looking at are like a truck driver underneath, underground truck driver, or even a nipper. That's basically an underground trade assistant. So those jobs there can be a fantastic opportunity. Then, of course, we're getting into the utilities. Every single site that has a camp and feeds people or cleans their rooms or has to clean down the mines hires utilities. So like I said, again, that's most people's foot in the door. So some people you see on social media discounting utility roles, like, oh, the money is like, even what I just said, the money is exactly the same today as it was when I started like in 2001. So people will go, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not being a room cleaner or whatever. But like I also said, you could potentially get into logistics under the banner of a utility job. So that's driving the forklifts or, the telehandlers or stuff like that. And then you've got civil jobs. Once let's say the process of the mine is they go out, they'll do the exploration for it, then they basically decide, yes, this is viable to start a mine. So there's stuff under here that we want, let's dig it up. The next process is civil. And civil I love because you're never going to, it will never go autonomous. Like you might have seen that some of the mine sites are going autonomous in their trucks and all that sort of stuff. It's never going to happen in civil because you're moving to different sites. Civil is basically preparation of the land so that the mining can actually start beginning and they can dig it all up. So civil is great. It gives you the opportunities of operating different machinery and there's a ton of money involved in it. Some companies have project incentive payments as well. So the longer that you're there, there's this money that will build up called PIP money. And then at the end of the project, you get it as a thank you very much. This might tide you over if you're bad at managing your finances until the next project. But I always say, as long as exploration's there, you're going to have civil projects. And to me, I love civil. You might be in a water cart one day, the service truck the next day, on a loader, a grader, like whatever it might be. And instead of like in the production side of mining where you're backwards and forwards, if you're in a dump truck all day, 60 Ks an hour, if you're lucky, civil, you're here, there and everywhere.
Yeah.
So that is one of the industries I like highly say to people, get into. It's an amazing opportunity. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like even the bus driving falls under that utility banner, believe it or not. And bus driving is a great job to network your way into another job and also to be in the aircon out of the flies and to get to talk to people. If you're a bit of a blah, blah, like me, that was one of my favorite jobs, driving buses.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I suppose, as you said, it's a stepping stone. Even if you're on a utility role and you're not liking it, there is a stepping stone because you are there. You're proving to employers that you are able to handle the situation, which again
Yeah.
is like, valuable. But I guess people then think, oh, well, discount it because it's less money or whatever. But again, you're working a lot less than most people work in their yearly jobs. So,
Yeah.
you obviously mentioned, one of the questions I was going to ask you was, can you get a mining job without experience? And you basically said yes. It's just about
Yes.
resumes and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I fear, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, no, go ahead.
That one to me is finding relevant experience that you do have that's relevant to the job that you're going for and close that gap. So that's where it's integral to, if you are structuring your resume, you need to be able to find things that are relevant to the job that you're going for to close that gap, or else you're not going to be considered for these jobs.
Yeah, brilliant. And how long is someone on average who has no experience looking to get a role taking from what you're seeing right now? Is it like a couple of months? Is it a month or so? What are you kind of seeing?
Yeah, it really depends. And that's kind of a how long is a piece of string question because there are a lot of factors in that, like what job they're going for, how many, people they're competing with, the economic factors, of course, and whether that candidate is going above and beyond, as opposed to a candidate, like I said, who'll chuck out a few resumes, get nowhere fast, and then go, oh, this isn't working, as opposed to that candidate, like what you just said earlier, who will go out there, put in the work, we had a lady last week that she was just saying she rang every single employer. That's what we tell people to do. As long as they're doing it in a professional manner, it really depends. But that's kind of, like I said, how long is a piece of string? I've had guys in my office, like when I say in my office, Zoom is my
Yeah.
office, basically. But we've done a job for them on Thursday. Then we said, right, this is what you need to do as for the next part of the process. They went off and did it on a Friday afternoon. He called me. He's like, you're not going to believe this. I've got 2 interviews lined up for Monday. I was like, of course I believe it. That's what we do. I've seen people in 25 minutes from what we do get job interviews lined up. So, and then on the flip side, I've seen people who do not do what they need to do, or they like, as part of our main package, we will go and actually do people's Seek profiles for them, because employers can go through people's Seek profiles and download your resume and offer you a job that way. A lot of people do not have their profile set up properly. They're missing too much information. That, like, this happened a couple of weeks ago with a client who the resume was amazing we did for her. And then she went off and came back and said, oh, I'm not getting anywhere. And this was like a couple of weeks later. And we followed up with like emails, because we like to keep on people to make sure they're doing, are you applying for these jobs? What are you doing?
Mm,
So we did actually look through her profile, and she changed everything that we'd done. And it was like, you don't even have the right email address on here. So there are so many factors that can affect it. So people say to us, what is your strike rate of helping people to actually get their job? And I'm like, 100% if you do what we say. And because, you get candidates sometimes who are actually afraid of going into the unknown. They want to actually get a mining job that can change their lives, but then they talk themselves out of it, or they'll do things that thwart their own results. And that, for me, I figure it's kind of like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. My saying is, though, but you can push it in and hope that it
Yeah.
swallows some of that water.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Amazing.
kind of in a nice way.
Yeah, and to be honest, you do have to not you are paying for someone to help you. Like you're paying for you guys to do help part of the job. You have to then take it all the way, all the rest of the way as well. Like you can't just expect someone to get you a job. Like as I said to you earlier, people just email me and go, "Get me a job." I'm like, "Yeah, but you haven't even said what you're looking for or anything like who to connect you to, So you have to go a bit above and beyond, and call them, do all the things that you say to do. Um,
Yeah.
so an offshoot of all this, so people apart from those people that are maybe working holiday visa, or if you're Australian, for those people who have overseas experiences such as tradesmen, sparkies, etc., what should they do first? Because a lot of people are saying out there they need to get their qualifications assessed if they want to work in the mines or if they just want to, in general, work in that industry.
Yeah, no, 100%. What they should do first is look into if they do want to 100% come over here. And let's say as a Sparky, because we get a lot of these as well from the UK, and they have the qualification over there, you do need to come and get recognition of prior learning. And that's where our immigration guy, he deals with all that for us. We just say, look, have a chat with Lilash, book in, have a chat with him. He will be able to direct you exactly where you need to go, including to the company that you need to go to to get that transferred over. He actually does a couple of the RPLs as well. So yeah, hang on, is that the right one? So he
Yeah,
can actually facilitate some of the people getting those qualifications transferred over to Australian standards. So it really depends, but I always say go to the specialist straight off the mark, because they specialize in that and can help to get you over the line faster than if you try to do it yourself and fall down the trap of going on social media, hearing all this bad advice, paying too much money somewhere, or going down Google and go, where do I go next?
yeah,
So we do, and that's why we do our career consultation sessions as well, because every candidate is different and their strategy is going to be different from somebody coming in from New Zealand as opposed to somebody coming from the UK or Ireland. So we really like to drill down and go, okay, this is the plan for you. This is the next step. Go on to our visa guy, get the visa sorted, or you can do it people can do it from the UK or wherever. But sort that first, and then we will do what we need to do to help you to get it over the line. And you
yeah.
actually got out into sight.
Yeah, and I would also encourage anybody out there listening about those things is just Google trades RPL or recognition of prior learning Australia and find out where, because there's a few websites out there that actually will really give you some basic information to direct questions, because once you get to those professionals such as you're a professional, you need to have specific questions to ask. You need to know what you're kind of thinking about before you just go,
Yeah,
I've just finished my degree or I finished my college and I want to go out there. Usually you have to have a little bit of experience. So that's great.
yeah,
Contact you. In terms of tickets, what's the basic level that you would, because I know there's a lot of people who spend loads of money out there on tickets. What's the basic level,
yeah.
or what do you recommend just having to begin with?
Yeah, that is my pet hate. I've seen companies like training organizations say to, literally, one of our clients came to us. He worked at McDonald's, and then he went to a training organization who said, get all these tickets. He spent over $5,000 on these tickets. And I was like, what job do you want? And I was like, when he told me, I was like, you don't need any of those. You need an HR driver's license. That's what you need. So the bare minimum to get even let's say a dump truck traineeship, because everyone's going on about those, you need a manual and sometimes an automatic driver's license. So driver's license 100% of the time you are going to need, full stop. That just depends on which class. It does come down to as well, what job do you want? Because this is where our consults are, so we can really find out what job do you want. Because, for example, for a driller's offsider role, you need that HR driver's license, which is the truck driver's license. You also need the white card, first aid, and police certificate. For a utility role, you need a white card, a police certificate, and a manual driver's license. For a trade assistant job, you need a confined space, working at heights, gas test, atmospheres, and maybe an HR license. For civil, you need an HR license. But then again, it varies. So Queensland is a little bit different. You might also need the standard 11, which is an induction and a safety induction. But across the board, for anyone who wants the very basic tickets, a driver's license, a white card, which is a construction induction, and a police certificate. That's what I'd say. But again, that's where I say before anybody spends, my goal is before anyone is even thinking about spending 1 cent on like, a $5,000 training package, come to us first. And also we do work with a couple of RTOs all around Australia, and we have an affiliate with them. So they give our people a discount. So if you are looking at getting mining tickets, whatever you do not get them first before you contact us, because we can get you a discount on tickets through training organizations that don't just go, oh yeah, just look, buy this $5,000 package because that'll guarantee that you'll go off and get a dozer operator role when you worked at McDonald's. Not going to happen. Yeah. So yeah, for me, that kind of pisses me off. And I've got a lot of tickets myself. Most of them I haven't even used and I didn't need. So, but it's only because I could get them cheaper.
Yeah.
But anyway.
No, that's good to know, because I didn't know that either. I thought you actually had a lot more. So, especially for just starting off. So, last few questions here to go. What is the 50-50 gender split people are talking about?
Okay, this is one of the most controversial things in the mining industry. So a lot of big mining companies like the BHPs of the world are looking to get a 50-50 gender split, meaning that 50% of the workforce is male, 50% is female. I personally have never got a job because I was like had specific chromosomes. I don't actually think that this is beneficial to the workforce, to be honest, because I've been out there myself for like I said, 17 years. And I think to try to force the issue is not actually helpful for the workforce in general, because it does cause that, the amount of times you hear, you only got your job because you're a female, right? Which is nowadays, it's actually kind of almost true. And that doesn't mean that because that person has 2X chromosomes, they are the best person for the job. Like for me, I figure having more females in the industry is phenomenal. It is amazing. And it's about time that females, went out there and took advantage of these opportunities. So I'm all for look at me, I did it. And then, when I was 18 and it's just life-changing. So to have that opportunity where females do feel more comfortable to go into the industry is amazing. And to be honest with you, I don't actually think there's going to be a time where employers are going to hit that. That's gender split. So, whatever. I just figure male, female, there is no specific job out there that I would say only a male could do that or only a female could do that. I've seen male housekeepers and I've seen female grader operators or, dozer operators or whatever. That's a male job, or people would potentially perceive that. Or drillers offsider is a massive one. The amount of women now that are getting into drilling is fantastic. Everyone's like, it's a hard job. Yeah, it's physically demanding. But, I don't know if you've seen any of my YouTube channel, but we have a series by our clients called A Day in the Life of, where they basically relay what their job is, how they got it. The drillers offsider one that I did, I love it because the lady that I interviewed was this tiny lady and she's a drillers offsider and she's now a driller, brilliant. I believe.
Wow.
So brilliant. Yeah, gender split, it's advantageous to females. And I'll admit that straight out the mark.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. But no, it's good to know because I've seen that question asked on social media. So I was like, oh, what is that all about? Because again, you don't necessarily hear everything. So, going off a little bit of on a tangent, when you say you do all that medical stuff, how do actually candidates have to prepare for that? Or is there a process or what is involved?
Oh, what's involved? Okay. All medicals are different. So you can have standard medicals and then you can have really hardcore medicals, which are drillers offsiders ones. I will just say that anyone with a reasonable level of fitness can pass these medicals. Like I've seen, you see some of the guys on site and you wonder, how the hell did you pass that medical? I'm not trying to be rude, but there are weight limits. There, everything is assessed. So I don't know whether you've ever had to do the plank before, Darren. Have you?
Yep.
Oh,
I love the gym, not.
yeah, me too. So you'll do exercises like the plank, sit-ups, push-ups sometimes, and every medical is different, and different places where you go and do the medical is different as well. You get hearing tests, your lung capacity tests, absolutely everything, your height, your weight done, the medical assessment by a doctor. I've even had blood tests when I went up to Barrow Island. So it really just depends on the project, the employer, and what job that you're going for. So, like I say, even in my YouTube channel, if anyone wants to have a look, I've got a whole section on pre-employment medicals to help you prepare. What I will say as well, like a lot of people do ask in relation to that, are there weight limits in the mining industry when you're first going for them? Yes, there are. So even the seatbelt limit, seat weight limit is 110 kilos. That's all the trucks can take. Then again, you see people out there and you're like, hang on.
Hmm.
But that's how it goes. But even like if you look at it from an employer's perspective, and trust me, when I like through the recruitment division, the insurance premiums that you pay for a candidate, even one that's cleaning rooms, are through the roof. So there is that risk rating from an employer's perspective. So they want candidates that are fit, that can do the job, that aren't going to be a liability and go off and hurt themselves and then, potentially like go off and have massive issues. So there
Yeah.
is that. Yeah, there's a ton of,
Well, that
it's a
makes
hard one.
sense. Yeah, it makes sense because you want to be able to actually do the job. Like for example, like it's different for different industries, so I can understand why the medicals are a bit weird for a lot of people.
Yeah,
But
bit different.
yeah, yeah, a bit different. A last couple of questions, just a quick fire ones.
Sure.
Which roles or maybe role is experiencing the highest wage growth compared to others?
Ooh, drillers offsiders.
Okay. Another really big question out there is which FIFO roster pays the most?
For 4 and 1 on civil.
Oh, okay. Good to know for those people out there if you're thinking of that. Um,
Mhm.
also, last little bit of so maybe not just a quick answer one, but how has the mining industry or recruitment changed since you started till now? Because obviously there's been a bit of time pass.
Yeah, well, 23 years, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the biggest changes that I would say is tech. You've seen it now, like it's everywhere, right? So I'm talking even from I always go on about applicant tracking systems, all the different systems that I've used. They are getting more and more advanced, which is a plus for companies because then you don't need to go through 20,000 resumes when you get them come through. You can just basically have them filtered out. So the top like 20 come out. And that can expedite the process. There's also the safety in the mining industry now is absolutely through the roof. You still see it, but you still see incidents and you still see fatalities, which is always, unfortunately, I mean, I don't believe it's going to get a case where you will 100% in any industry be able to wipe them out. Obviously, the mining industry is way more dangerous. So that's where the safety side of it has come in. And I believe that is a really good thing to make sure that even from the recruitment process, you're getting a candidate that is safety orientated, that is not going to go out there like a cowboy and like, do dumb things, although you still see that to this day. Like some people, and you're like, how is this person on site? They're a complete liability, or they're out there like smashing the trucks or whatever it might be. But the safety systems that employers now have to legally work under and make sure that the environment is safe, I believe has been one of the better things that have occurred to the industry, as opposed to sometimes I think back on one of the first jobs that I was on. I was able to walk around in sneakers, like with, shorts, work tops,
Yeah.
polo shirts. Now it's like even for a cleaning job or an administrator job, you are kitted out to the max, long sleeve, high vis, boots that are absolutely murder on your feet. I will say
Yeah.
break the boots in if you're your first swing. And just yeah, it's really hardcore. But yeah, those are the main like changes that I'd say
Yeah.
have happened to the industry, which are fantastic. But then again, sometimes not for candidates. If they don't know about them or they can't work the system, again, I've sent my resume off 300 times. I'm getting nowhere fast. So yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much for coming on because I've learned so much just in this chat. So thank you. And if you're looking to go and into the mining industry, no matter where you are, contact Win-Win. And what's your email address for the info at Win-Win, isn't
Yep.
it?
Yeah, perfect. So just remember, as you can probably see from behind, it's actually a number one instead of an I. So W1N W1N.com. Sorry, I'll start again. So info, info at W1N W1N.com.au. If you're an employer and you need kick-ass stuff or you need help booking in to find out what jobs are right for you, or you just need a resume that's going to get you through, or you suck at interviews or whatever it might be.
Anything?
As
Yeah.
you can tell, yeah, my team and I got a lot of experience, and we're just normal people. We're just normal people that want to help people to achieve their goals. So it's not like some scary like
Yeah,
situation.
no.
But yeah, contact us if you want to expedite your way into the industry.
Thank you very much. And I'll link everything down in the show notes below. So if you do have any questions or things, just shoot them through. And I'm sure Alana will pass you on to the right way. So thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Darren, and good luck to your audience. And yeah, contact us if you need help.
Thank you.